So what you do seems almost like magic. You can come to a place like this and you can tell us what it was like 2,600 years ago. Was it wetter or drier? Um, did the river once flow all the way into the sea? Tell us how you do that.
One of the ways we do that is the balance between where the sea was and where the river was. And we can do that by simply looking at the shells that are from the sea, how far they were inland, and the shells from the rivers, how far they extended beyond where they are now. So we can identify the environments from the types of shells that came from a particular area.
So does that mean you can also date it so you know this is when it happened and this is what it looked like?
Great question. We're able to identify burnt carbon from organic material that surrounds the shell. We can also date the shell because the shell has carbon in it, and when we extract that carbon, we have that age.
So as you look over this landscape generally, what is your first impression about what it was like before? I know you don't work on first impressions because this is scientific, but your sense of it is what?
Here's what we see. We see a landscape that is very rugged, that is broken by what was once a very large cove. And it's probably the only cove, let's say, in the general neighborhood. And the cove has so many different components to the environment, each one of which has organic elements to it. And all those organic elements, whether they be animals, vegetation, or human activity, are datable.
So do you think it was wetter here in the past?
There seems to be no question that it was wetter. The question really is, what is it wetter from? Right now, with sea level rising, it's wetter because of the incursions of the sea. Previous to that, it was wetter as well, but it was wetter more in the interior because the riverbeds were a little bit higher and there was more area taken up by the rivers themselves.
There's a sandbar now across that wadi, making it into a lagoon essentially, but do you suspect that once it flowed right into the sea?
We do, and this type of environment is very similar to the environments in Egypt, where in Lower Egypt, where the delta is, it was a very diverse environment where alligators and a variety of different types of animals lived that no longer live there today because it's submerged. We have the same situation here where about 2,600 years ago, 3,000 years ago, it was a totally different landscape that's currently covered by the sea.
So you can tell a difference in the rainfall too as you're looking back over the record.
Yes, you can. We can also probe underneath the present floodplain and date it very carefully because it's organic and it gives us wonderful dates. And for that time frame, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, all the way up to 40,000, we're very reliable.